Chapter 8E, Factorizing by grouping. That is for when you have 4 terms. So when there are 4 terms in one expression, how do we factorize it? Well, to think about, okay, factorizing means that we need to take out a common factor. But the first 3 terms of this expression has x, we can take it out. But what do we do about the constant -6? Can we use dots? Not really, we only have one x squared, and we don't really have another minus something squared terms. Okay. Some people would suggest to collect like terms first, so we merge plus 3x minus 2x, therefore the expression would be x squared plus x minus 6. However, we don't know how to factorize this kind of expression yet. Therefore, how about we just leave it as it is, and we can group them into pairs. So when there are a lot of terms, we can become more organized, group them, and then we factorize it. Okay, so how does that work? So group the terms into pairs. Of course, you have to observe and decide how you group. The grouping should let you further factorize in the following steps. That is, so when you group them, you need to make sure the 2 terms that you group together should at least have one common factor there. So in this case, we group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. Notice that the sign has to change because we have -2x and -6 grouped together. If you have a negative sign, if you choose to leave this minus in front of the brackets, when you group the last 2 terms, then this sign has to change. Okay? And then the common binomial factor is taken out from both of the brackets. Yeah? So the first 2 terms have x as a common factor. We've taken that out. And the last 2 terms now have 2 as their common factor. So that has been taken out. Once that has been taken out, you notice that, hey, we also have a common factor among these 2 terms. Okay, that's x plus 3. That's the binomial factor. Okay, so this binomial factor can then be taken out so that the entire expression is factorized into 2 binomials multiplied together. Sometimes you need to rearrange an expression to allow effective grouping. So expressions like this, if you just follow the order that these terms appears, you notice that 2x squared minus 9 doesn't really have a common factor, and you can't really use dots here because x has a coefficient of 2. And here, well, 18x and x has a common factor, but, well, if you just factorize these 2 terms, what do you do about these 2, right? So what you need to do is you need to sort of rearrange it into an order that you can factorize. That is, that they actually do have a common factor. So in this case, you'd be like, okay, 2x squared minus 18x. So what's the common factor between x minus 9? Well, wait for a minute. Here, once you factorize the first 2 terms, you notice, hey, we do have a binomial factor here that we can take out, and therefore we factorize into a binomial product. Okay?